Hi, it's Paul. Today I'm an old man with a paddleboard and a video that's another in my series on my anxieties with paddleboarding. And in this one it's all about the weather. I talked about this a bit in the intro video, and I mentioned that one of the ways that I quite successfully put myself off going out on my paddleboard is by looking at the weather forecast and getting concerned about what the weather's going to be like when I'm planning to paddle, which of course is ridiculous because I love paddleboarding. But then that's what anxiety is all about. For me, it stops me enjoying the things that I enjoy. Hi, it's Paul, and I'm just sat here editing this video, and I'm a little bit concerned, so I feel compelled to jump in and make a comment mid-video. I'm concerned that people will take this video as being an encouragement to go out and paddle regardless of the weather. It isn't. It's an explanation of how, in my circumstances, in the location in which I paddle, the weather forecast sometimes doesn't accurately represent the actual on the water experience. There are many places out at sea or big expanses of water, flatter areas, that may be very reflective of a weather forecast, and so one has to take one's own assessment of the risk in any situation and think about what's possible and what isn't possible and what's safe. So this absolutely isn't an encouragement, go out there, ignore the weather forecast, just go for it, send it, as they say. This is me explaining why I feel I misled myself in my anxiety to take the weather forecast extreme as being factual, whereas it turned out not to be. So bear all that in mind as you watch on, if you wish to. Thanks. So weather then. Today is Monday the 6th of October 2025, and we've just endured Storm Amy. There's been news of drama on the coast and inland in areas, tragedies and goodness knows what else, and widespread damage. And on Saturday the forecast wasn't good. The forecast for the wind this time of day, now it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, as I say, it's Monday. On Saturday the forecast was 23 mile an hour winds, and the forecast for this morning was 11 mile an hour winds, just as a comparison. If I search the internet with the phrase what weather, what wind speed is it okay to go paddleboarding in, I get a huge amount of results, but primarily they're around the sort of 8, 10, 12 mile an hour, some going up to 15. Some articles say that's for beginners. Some don't make any differentiation for who the advice is meant for at all. And I've definitely seen at least one online coach who says he doesn't go out in anything over 8 mile an hour because he doesn't find it enjoyable. It's fine. Your choice is your choice. And yet, I was out paddling on Saturday. Was it windy? Yes. Was it too windy to paddle? No. I found out it wasn't. And there's the thing. So until recently, I've always had a default approach of, if there's a reason to not go paddleboarding, then I won't go paddleboarding. But in order to try and tackle some of my anxieties, I'm trying to change that mindset. I'm trying to adopt a different mindset. And the mindset is something along the lines of, do I actually know what it's going to be like out on the river, paddling, while I'm sat at home, looking at the internet or the weather forecast or any other random thing? Do I actually know what it's like on the river? And of course the answer is no, I don't. In which case, I might as well go and have a look and see what it actually is like. So on Saturday, that's exactly what I did. And here is what I found out. So to recap, the wind was forecast to be 23 mile an hour. I have a wind gauge, wind meter. The maximum speed I recorded, which I stood up on the bridge to get the highest possible wind, and the maximum I recorded was 14 mile an hour when I measured it. Not 23. Was it hard work paddling? Yes, it was. I had to kneel down up one section, the section that I'm actually coming to right now, today. As I came up from the lock, it's a straight line and it was completely against the wind, and I was kneeling down, paddling hard, but I made progress. And I got back. There were also some other bits where I was standing up. The rest of the journey back I stood up. And there were some other bits where I had to put a fair bit of effort in. But nonetheless, I managed to keep going. And going back to the online coach who said he wouldn't go out in anything over 8 mile an hour, that's fine. I've got, like I said, your choice is your choice. But I found it quite rewarding. A bit of a workout, if you like, paddling against the wind and being successful. And afterwards even sort of maybe a bit of elation that, hey, I did it. So the thing is, a lot of my anxiety turned out to be worrying about something that didn't actually turn out to be real. And certainly for the anxieties that I experience, that often seems to be the case, if I'm honest, which I'm not always about it. And before anyone goes rushing off into storms to go paddling, ignoring all the don't go out, don't leave your home advice from the Met Office or wherever. And there'll be people saying, oh, that's bad advice, Paul, you shouldn't be advising people to go out and paddle in storms, blah, blah, blah. I'm not giving you any advice. Far be it from me to suggest that anybody does anything. What I'm doing is talking about my experience. It's not expertise. I don't give advice, or very, very rarely. I recount what I've done, what's happened to me, and what I've learned as a result. To me personally. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your paddling abilities are. I don't know where you are. I don't know the locations that you paddle in. So I cannot give you any advice whatsoever. But maybe what I've experienced is of interest and makes you think. And just to quantify, this section of the river that I'm paddling is a navigation. It's the same section I paddled Saturday, exactly the same bit. This is the bit that I was struggling against the wind going that way. I suspect I won't struggle today, even though it's forecast to be 10 mile an hour, because I'm stood still, not paddling, and I'm hardly getting blown down river at all. that's by the by. Anyway, this is a navigation. The flow of the river is controlled by locks and weirs. There's a lock down here, there's a weir over there, and except when it's in flood, and you won't find me on the river when it's in flood, except when it's in flood, you won't find, or I don't find, any appreciable flow in the water. The deepest it gets is about 6 or 7 feet, which is, yes, taller than me. And about the widest it gets is about 40 feet in the area I paddle. The bankside on River Right is owned by the fishing club. And about every, I don't know, 40, 50 foot, there's a fishing point, which is a very convenient point to get out. Should I wish to, I can just, if I abandon all hope, I can swim to the side and just jump on one of the fishing points and get out. And in the worst case scenario, where I find myself unable to paddle back up river, I could actually get off the river and just walk back up the track, and I'd be back at my car in about 5 or 10 minutes. The river twists and turns and is heavily wooded, at least on the river left, quite a bit on River Right as well. It's a bit more open here. You can't see it because you're down too low, but it's quite sheltered. And so logically, the wind speed doesn't always reflect what it says on the forecast. But until I came out and paddled on Saturday, I'd never thought about all of this. It had never crossed my mind that reality isn't the same as perception. And where the forecast said, no, absolutely you can't paddle, the reality said I could paddle, and I did. And that's my point. I wouldn't have known that just from sitting at home and looking at the forecast. I wouldn't have had a clue. Let me just jump on the dock. I wouldn't have known by sitting looking at the forecast, because the forecast is an imagined future state of the weather, and it turned out not to be reality. It turned out not to be accurate right here. It may well be accurate up the top of the hill over there, but we're in a valley, this is a river, it's wooded, blah blah blah, sheltered, done all that. And I only found out because instead of allowing the imagined future state to create enough anxiety to keep me at home, I went and had a look at what the reality of now actually is. And I did the same today. Previously, I wouldn't have gone out in a forecast that said 10 mile an hour winds. I will measure the wind speed in a moment, but I can tell you it's not 10 mile an hour. And while the gusting wind on Saturday might have had me a bit edgy, where it was like, and it was, I didn't sit the night before dwelling on it, thinking about it, because I'd already resolved, well, I'll go and have a look anyway. And even if it's not paddleable, I can sit in the car or on the riverbank and have a cup of coffee or any other hot beverage of my choice, or cold beverage, and just enjoy being outside for an hour or two. Will the same approach work for you? I've no idea. Remember what I said about not knowing who you are or where you are or whatever. I'll close with this. Yesterday I searched the phrase, do surfers believe the weather forecast? And the answer I got back from the internet was yes, they do. They use the weather forecast as an overall guide, but generally they'll rely more on local knowledge of how the sea reacts in any specific local spot under certain weather conditions, and they'll go and have a look, because the perception, the imagination of the future state of the weather forecast might actually not be as accurate as they think. So the things I'm trying to remind myself, I cannot change the past. I can only remember it, learn from it, remember it fondly, or my version of it. The present, now, is the only actual truth. The future will rarely, if ever, be as I imagine it to be. Because I don't know. I can guess, I can imagine, but it's quite likely not going to be exactly as I imagine it. So there you go. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.